Hi there, name's Musha. If you don't know, I run a Legacy G Series Discord server called Project G-Boot, where we hold monthly remote fight tournaments or to relive the end of G with a custom ban list. Now, recently we've been kind of just messing with other alternative formats / custom rule sets because really we're just here to have fun, and everything I'm about to present to you today is just for casual fun. Take it as much as you want from it, or add it to it. This is very much just kind of guidelines in general. So let's go ahead and get into it, starting with the question of what is Premium DX. Well, it's a collection of custom rule sets for the premium format, which focuses on casual play, but is still putting in the effort to balance these rule changes as much as possible. But inevitably, because of how heavy some of these rule changes are, it can still break some stuff. But this, like I said, you take as much of this from you want as you want to with your friends. You can use the whole thing, add additions, subtract from it. It's all up to you. First big rule change, though, is something that I honestly would be fine with if they're just saying, hey, over triggers are staying in premium, but this is the compromise. Just make it so that the trigger power that they give is counted as 10,000 power in premium. I know that's annoying to say, but if you're not going to ban over triggers, I would take this. Pretty much all their aspects of trigger would be fine, so their ability plus the 50,000 shield and how they function, that when you check them, they remove stuff from play and draw you a card. This would actually mean that Alberia would be the only one that could give you 100 million power, which actually means that Alberia might see reasonable play on purpose. LOL. God, fuck, I said LOL. But yeah, so this is one of the things that, while I don't see them doing, I would be fine with this as the compromise for not having OTs in premium. Second is a overhaul to Protect 2 because it desperately needed it. So Protect 2 has just been trash. There's no reason to ever play it, as you can see on screen. If you didn't know what Protect 2 does, because it's never used, outside decks specifically require it, all your units on this cards are C, so whenever you acquire Protect 2, you put on one of your RCs. It gets 5,000 power and 10,000 shield when it intercepts. Cool, neat in concept. But Protect decks don't give a crap about that as much, and your opponent can just blow up the card. And so instead of having a card that basically has a chance to do nothing, why not just get a free Perfect Guard? Valid reasons. But we decided to go ahead and give it a new ability, which is once per turn per copy, which means that if you have multiple of these on one circle, you can trigger each of them for this skill. So it says whenever a unit on this circle leaves the field due to an opponent's ability, choose one of your rear guards. Oh, that's a typo there, your rear guards. And until end of turn, it gets intercept and can intercept from the back row. Then you may draw one card. Of course, the draw is optional, so you don't have to deck yourself out. But this kind of becomes like a reverse Excel 2 marker, which I really like. So yes, it gives 5,000 power like an Excel marker, but the draw only happens if your opponent interacts with you. But instead you also get the defensive power of the intercept, and if your opponent does make it leave the field due to one of their abilities, then one of your other things will get intercept from the back row. So that means if that's on a Protect 2 marker and it didn't have intercept before, now it can intercept from basically anywhere and get the extra 10,000 shield, plus you draw a card to replace the thing. Does this make Protect 2 like uber powerful? No, it just makes it to where I feel like Protect 2 is now playable in general. Of course, give your thoughts and opinions on anything about any of this stuff down below. But this has been actually kind of fun. I've been actually playing with a Malcolm Mellow deck with this stuff in premium, and yeah, it's nice to be able to feel like, oh shit, my opponent killed my thing. I can at least refund it now. And like I said, if you do have multiple on one circle, like if you can just turbo out like 2 to 3 onto one circle somehow, then you can just sit there and be like, do it, bitch. Do it. If you kill this thing, I'm going to draw 3 cards. Now, if the thing dies to like an ability such as Vermilion or a Brawler skill, to where it's just attacking multiple things, but the card doesn't actually leave the field until it's actually retired due to the battle, it will not trigger from this because those attacks are retiring by battle, not by ability. The ability part only comes when choosing the attack target. So those still also are a way to basically shut this down, in which case basically your opponent's basically never doing. Those are super rare abilities to ever come across, but is something to keep in mind. Next is that you can play up to 2 Blitz Orders. This is really cool because that means like if you play your Elementaria Sync to 2 and you have another Blitz Order, you can go ahead and play it. Additionally is the change that Strike Crests also receive the item that they only get 2,000 for each face compared to G-Zone instead of 5,000. This means that the Strike Crests still very much can do what they do, but they're no longer broken or overpowered. And yeah, it's pretty much just simply that. The Strike Crests do what they do, but now they're strong. They're not always overpowered. And the reason we've made these changes is because we are allowing the option of a ride deck with limitations, which of course, if you include a ride deck, means that you will include an energy generator, and it is the modern ride deck rules, so it'll be a 50 card main deck and your 4 card extra deck. Now this is an optional thing, so you can choose not to include a ride deck. But if you do, then you will have some extra stipulations attached to it. The first being is that you cannot gain imaginary gifts. This is the big one, and surprisingly, this has been a really big change, honestly. I was surprised how well, from my little bit of testing we've done, this just felt good. It felt like a good compromise if they decided to ever bring a ride deck into premium, which I don't think they really should. But if they had, like if they just said, alright, we want to bring a ride deck into premium, I think that this would be the thing that you would do to make it work, basically. Now, of course, in addition, like, if you wanted to really restrict it to where the ride deck can only be standard cards, in addition that you cannot gain imaginary gifts, that means you can't follow up with a, use the ride deck as just a ride-up thing. Or you can even say, like, additionally, like this is hypothetically, if they did include a ride deck in premium, just say, you can include a ride deck, but if you do include a ride deck, you can only ride cards with the D icon. I think that would also be fine. But we wanted to have some fun with it, so you can build your ride deck out of anything here, but you cannot gain imaginary gifts. Additionally, is a restriction list of extra restrictions on top of the actual premium ban list. Now, this is very much just a initial run type list. It'll change as things go on if we decide to keep up with it, and it is just a suggestion. This is all for casual fun, so if you want to just ignore the restriction list in general, go for it. Just have a fun time. With that restriction list being, Dragfall Vanguard cannot be in the ride deck. Exceptional Expertise Rising Nova V series cannot be in the ride deck. All the cloning strides, so Crystal Luster, Chain Ranker, and Shining Garnet are limited to 1, as well as Darkface Gridora. Honestly, it's something that I'd be fine with even happening in actual premium, but I understand why people say that they don't want it, because it's the only thing really bugs have going for it. But Gridora limited to 1 I think would actually be a fine change in actual premium, just because I think it's a terribly designed card. Next up is basically a ban of V-Series Night Rose if you include a ride deck. So you needed to have a way to hit the deck, because it becomes uber consistent with a ride deck. And the deck didn't give a shit about the free PG it got, really. I mean, it was helpful, but it really didn't give a shit about that. So basically this means that you'll be relying on Beatrice, which is not nearly as strong as, of course, being able to use V-Series Night Rose. And of course, if you want to, you can still use G-Series Night Rose. I don't know if there's really a point to, because, well, I mean, I guess you can get the Superior Stride off, but you won't be able to gain gift markers. And of course, this limit list is only here if you choose to include a ride deck. Then next up is a limit 2 to Odysseus for pretty obvious reasons. Next up is a choice restrict of Talented Rhinos and Magnagamar, and that is because this is a no fight, no guard strategy. Whenever you're introducing a ride deck and all of the fun tools of Stokeia, we don't need a no fight, no guard strategy. The last two things is 2 hits to Dimensional Robo, because whenever you give that deck uber consistency, it becomes the most retarded deck in the game. So, first off, Die Liner cannot be included at all, which means your main defensive option is out the window, so the deck becomes all gas. And then next up, you can only include up to 16 grade 3s in your main deck. This will not include your ride deck grade 3, which pretty much is the upper end of what DP players were already playing in their decks regularly. So pretty much it's was DP, you're losing out on Die Liner if you want to include a ride deck, but you're just gaining consistency in general. but you're still not actually altering the way you really play the deck. So it's up to you. DP will still probably want to play just without a ride deck because it wants gift markers, it wants die liner. So pretty much we took away those two things, and it's pretty much now just a pure gas aggro deck, which I think is perfectly fine. Now we do have two final extra changes here, and it's an update saying that all your starter / first vanguards, whatever you want to call them, now say when rolled upon, if you go second, put a quick shield ticket into your hand. Of course, this does not double stack with the V series starters, so you won't get like 2 quick shields. This is just basically now when you go second, when you ride, get a quick shield ticket. It's just part of the rules, basically. This is the one rule change I legitimately want Bushiroad to do. It's a simple rule change. They can just say it. It's just say that every single card says, when this is rode upon, if you go second, every single grade 0 just says that. Basically, when rode upon, if you go second, get a quick shield. Just make that part of the premium rules. I know that'd be a weird thing to extra explain in premium, but there's already so much to explain in premium. That would be like the one thing. It's kind of whatever. They don't have to go out of their way to reprint all this stuff, but if they decide to make more premium product in the future that does include non-V starters, then that would be the perfect time to reprint the errata text of when rolled upon, if you go saying put a quick shield into your hand, because while this may not seem like a lot, basically it then means that you're making the trade-off. Do I want the consistent draw of the V starter? You very much likely will. Or do I want to have this consistent rear guard that's going to help me hit early game numbers? Because now I'm not losing out on the quick shield, whatever choice I make. This just feels good. Please, Bushiroad, if somehow this video makes it to someone at Bushiroad's ears, even if this is an English only thing for premium, this would be the one rule change I legitimately is just beneficial for the premium format. And I dropped my water bottle. We'll see if I remember to cut that out. Then the final rule change is an update to how Legion works, to hopefully make Legion playable in today's modern premium format. So how it works now is that you can Legion regardless of your opponent's Vanguard's grade, so you can just ride up, and Legion's now return up to 4 cards, so you can just ride up. It doesn't matter how many's in there, you return up to 4, or even to 0, you just declare 0 and Legion. Then, when performing Legion, if you do not have any imaginary gifts, you can gain 1 gift marker of your clan's marker type. But yet again, if you include a ride deck, you cannot gain a gift marker. So if it's the cross here, if I put them in the ride deck, I can just ride up, instantly go into the Legion, start doing the thing. But if I, of course, had them in the ride deck, I would not get the gift marker to make the attacks more powerful. What this does mean, though, is that I can not play a ride deck, play a deck so that I'm basically playing just Overlord as it is and getting a gift marker. Now, of course, riding up and basically at the end of your turn being at 5 cards in your hand for 2 big Vanguard swings in premium currently, it's not the greatest. It become playable, but it's not really the greatest thing in the world. But these 2 changes should hopefully make it so that Legion becomes far more of a playable thing. Well, that's pretty much it there. We're going to leave that for today. There's some other things I kind of want to talk about here, but they're probably better off in their own video. And my throat is getting really sore because I ran out of water, which, as you just heard a moment ago, fell on the ground. So I'm going to go get more water. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day. Any comments down below, of course. Come join the Project G Boot server. Links down in the description. And pin comment, or just one. Depends on if I forget one or the other, but should be in both. Well, hope to see you guys later. And as always, have fun.